Here now, former White House Communications Director, Skybridge Capital founder, author of The Blue Collar President, Anthony Scaramucci.
Wave here.
Now, if you're gonna do the wave, we need to teach you it's the light bulb.
Yes.
Yeah, it's everyone in the light bulb, Anthony.
Good,
there you go.
I need shoulder surgery, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Your reaction, China, the United States, where do we go from here in terms of this trade relationship?
So I'm going to say something outrageous. I actually think that they're going to get a deal done pretty quickly. And if it's not next week, it'll be before the end of the year, because that's the president's personality. And if you go back to the Canadian-Mexican deal and you look at the concessions that were made, there were minor concessions. And so this has typically been the president's style. He is very rough in the beginning. He comes out guns a-blazing. He's boxing away. If you read the art of the deal, that's exactly what he does. And then he tries to meet in the middle towards the end of the negotiation. And so here's another thing for the president. I know his personality well enough to know that he wants this thing done by latest the end of January, because he's got to set up the narrative going into the back half of his administration that he's tied up these trade deals. And then he'll want to work on an immigration or an infrastructure deal with the Democrats.
So, Anthony, I hosted APEC in 2014, and my sources are telling me they were
doing this?
Well, you know, I was working on it. I have great wrists now, great wrist motion because of it. But basically, from my sources in Asia, they said that they were insulted that President Trump didn't even make the trip to Papua New Guinea. So that was already, you know, laying the groundwork by not showing respect. And that might be a good negotiating tactic as well, because at least you're sending a message to the rest of Asia, particularly China, aren't you?
Well, I mean, you know, that could be. I think it's a combination of different things. Just the unbelievable schedule that he had leading up into the midterms. I think that they probably held him back from going to Asia. Because I don't really think that should be something that should be insulting anybody. I think what the Americans are upset about are the IP situation with China. And so it appears that there's going to be concessions made there on behalf of the U.S. And so that's where I think the trade deal gets done. But I don't think anybody should be upset that he didn't make it to APEC.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the president's timeline, and this is really good news that this is not going to be sort of a permanent fight with the Chinese, in your view, that he's looking to wrap it up. How about on the Chinese side? There's this sense that China thinks in decades or centuries, but I think there's some pressure on Xi Jinping to deal as well.
I absolutely think that. If you look at where their market is, Jim, and you look at where their currency is right now, both of those things are true. And I think one of the things that gets overstated by the Western media is the overall strength of the Chinese economy. Like, if you look at their level 3 assets, if you're a banking analyst and you're examining their level 3 assets, which is really the core of the capital structure of the Chinese commercial banking system, they never wrote down those assets after 2008. And so those assets are wildly overstated, which has a big impact on the Chinese government, puts pressure on their reserves as they try to prop up those banks. And what you don't want is a material slowdown where you see the GDP of China dipping below 6.5%, because that puts them in a danger zone as it relates to the mass urbanization that's taking place throughout China. So I absolutely think this is pressure on both sides, and I think that I think both presidents like each other. And so my guess is this thing will get done, if not next week, shortly thereafter.
Anthony, here is incoming House Republican Conference Chair Liz Cheney commenting on the Democrats' economic message yesterday with Maria on Sunday Morning Futures on Fox. So listen to this. I want to get your reaction.
The Democrats right now are focused on this so-called Russia collusion, the Russia threat. I think the real Russia threat, Maria, is when you look at the kind of Soviet-style economic policy that the Democrats in particular, some of the freshmen coming in, are advocating. So I think the Democrats are going through a very challenging time, and Nancy Pelosi is working very hard to try to become the next speaker, which means that she's got to kowtow in many ways to that wing of her party. That's not good for the country.
President Trump offered to help Nancy Pelosi basically get the speakership.
Many votes as she needs. As many votes as she needs.
Every time I read that, I just laugh out loud, because it seems like he's really throwing shade. And it just makes me chuckle.
Well, he's throwing shade in one way, but in another way, she may need the votes. And by the way, she's going to be the speaker, so they can say whatever they want and they can posture any way that they want. She's an absolutely ruthless killer. I say that in the most complimentary, most admirable way.
Not literally.
Okay? No, I'm saying it metaphorically, but I mean, she's definitely going to be the House Speaker. So, by the way, I have an 11-day PhD in this nonsense that goes down in Washington. Okay, so I'm telling you. you. I'm telling you right now, the knives are being sharpened, metaphorically, and she is going to be the House Speaker. So, do you want me to comment on what Representative Cheney was saying, or you'd rather not?
Money talks and walks, whether you're in Washington or anywhere else in the country, and ultimately, she is one of the greatest fundraisers in modern Democratic history.
And by the way, I mean, you have to give her a lot of credit for the midterm elections. She raised a ton of money, and she mobilized people in the right areas, and you can call it a blue wave, a minor blue wave. It wasn't a blue ripple. If you look at the whole landscape, you look at the state legislatures and the governorship switching, certainly wasn't a blue ripple. Having said that, I think without the president's help, it could have been way worse.